Hello and welcome to the Comicspiracy, episode 509 for the week of Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. My name is Ryan Higgins, and boy, have I been waiting a week for this episode. I'm sure all our opinions on things that happened in the last 7 days will be totally seen as normal, and everyone will listen to this episode and go, wow, what a well thought out, rational episode that I'm sure is reasonable. And that's the end of my engagement, as opposed to screaming and yelling and getting mad at us on the Facebook group and Twitter, which is usually how this goes. Hi, my name's Ryan. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
And Kevin.
Oh, and Kevin. That's it. Toby will be joining later at some point, maybe, hopefully. He is too hyped from the basketball game.
But right now, the audience can enjoy three white guys talking comics. Always a treat.
As you do, as is normal, normal.
Is it better that we know we're three white guys and we're just talking comics? Like, is it better that we know that?
It's hard not to know, okay? that's all I'm going to say.
The reflection on your screen is very white balancing for my computer.
When we got new lighting in here, I did make a point of, like, I need to get one of those, like, streamer, like
the
like
round
light
circle thing. Yeah.
Because I am in like a dark corner when I record this podcast, so it is definitely
but
like your screen, your computer, your monitors just.
Well, I got two monitors. Right, that's what I mean.
You're very Casper right now.
Yeah. compared to Kevin.
No,
who's very earthy tones, and me, who's more just bland, good colors.
You guys,
all over.
Yeah, Kevin has nice. So I mean, we don't record the video, but we are on video just to.
That's a Patreon tier.
See each other's lovely faces. And Kevin has a nice, soft, gold light that's all over him. Brock has a kind of the brighter light, but he's got some behind him. I just have the light of the computers in my dark corner, so I am like. But even if it's brighter, it doesn't change anything. Like but when there is a light here, it just shines in my face and it's like blinding. So anyway, that's fine. We got to talk about some stuff. We're here to
talk about lighting. That's what
we're gonna. Hopefully, Toby will be here whenever the basketball people finish their game and they give away the basketball trophy to the basketball men.
Oh wait, so it was like the finals, the final?
It was the final game. It just ended maybe 20 minutes ago.
The basketball World Series just wrapped up. And
you do realize Boston does have a team, right?
I've heard of the Celtics. I'm aware. Yes, we're going to talk about Loki at the end. I'm sure Toby may hopefully be here by that point. We have a couple topics. You guys are spared from sales charts this week. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a technical error getting our sales charts up, so I wanted to go over the charts from Comic-Con as well. But I can, if you want, just maybe not the whole story. I will let me read just a taste. Read just a taste from Comic-Con.
Why do I feel like he's going to troll? He's trolling the internet right now.
Well, if you believe
F you.
If you believe that comic books are dead, if you believe that single issue comic books are dead, let me just give you the start of Comic-Con's Twitter thread on the sales of June 2021 comic sales to comic shops in Northern California. June 2021 looks to have been a colossal month for periodical comics, according to Comic-Con's projected rankings from comics initial orders just posted. And of course, a 5-week month. It was the largest week since the pandemic began. Between 8 and 9 million copies of comics sold, totaling nearly $40 million, rivaling any of the best months of the 2000s. DC's 60-issue slate is near its 2019 levels, meaning, again, DC is not cutting their output by a ton. They're not firing a bunch of people. They're not getting rid of all their best creators. They are still publishing relatively consistently the same amount of material they always have. However, Marvel is still about a third smaller, and that is true. Marvel has cut their line, but we are seeing much higher numbers across the board. So these are, of course, initial orders only. There is no record reorders or graphic novels in there because of the way numbers work now. So Comic-Con says it may have been a $60 million month with those included, which would be a post-90s boom record. So Comic-Con, because of all their where they get the numbers from and their estimates, they now have DC and Marvel and Image and all the stuff linked back up like they used to. Of course, we don't have the specific numbers like we've had in the past, but we'll get more into that next week. I just want to say, like, yeah, if once we have some specific rankings here,
you know what really pushed these numbers, right?
Well, we'll find out next week when we go through our top 10.
No, just I want everybody to know like what was pushing these numbers. It was like there was like 5 reprints for issues of Something Is Killing the Children. That like
I don't even think there was.
No, I think there was a reprint
in June. I don't think so. The last time they reprinted anything of that was with the
local comic shop day.
Local comic shop day, which was last year, and then the 8th print that went with Berserker number 2, which was a couple of months ago. I don't think they've reprinted anything since.
But there are a lot of second prints that are pushing numbers up.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of really good stuff out there. But we'll talk more about that next week because I want to get our numbers on there too. So I'll get that sorted out. Speaking of Something Is Killing the Children, James Tynion IV and Werther Adera. Man, I can never say that name right. Launching a new title, spinning out of Something Is Killing the Children, and coming out of Free Comic Day, which is kind of a truncated one coming soon. House of Slaughter starts in October, which is a spin-off book. If you've been keeping up on what Tynion's been doing, you've known that one shot's coming up, and so that's officially launching into its own title. And just a quick little synopsis here. The series delves into the inner workings of the mysterious House of Slaughter and explores the secret history of the order that forged Erica Slaughter into the monster hunter she is today. Something Is Killing the Children, without question, is one of our biggest selling books, and the graphic novel sales are through the roof right now. Just because I think.
So, would you say it's the new Walking Dead?
Sales wise, yeah, more than that. Walking Dead never sold this well for us. Walking Dead never sold this well, except for like anniversary issues. This is way outselling Walking Dead, and it got optioned for
TV show.
Yeah, let me just talk about this the other week, or was that on our off week?
I think it was on our off week, and we didn't talk about it.
Was it? Well, we can definitely talk about it right now. It's they're going to adapt it into a Netflix series.
Yep.
So by the people that did the Dr. Sleep movie, I did not see that. I did not hear good things about it. But
oh man, the not to derail the conversation.
Yeah,
that's what we do on this podcast. Derail away.
Dr. Sleep. That was Mike Flanagan, who also did the Gerald's Game Netflix movie, Stephen King adaptation, and Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah, so as I say, it's Trevor Macy and Mike Flanagan. They did Dr. Sleep and Haunting of Hill House. I did actually watch the first 2 episodes of Hill House, and I thought it was good. I just
that first season's really good.
Yeah, I just didn't keep up with it. I don't watch a lot of horror.
But here's the Dr. Sleep comment, and it takes 20 seconds. I saw the theatrical version. I was like, God, why would they make a sequel to The Shining? Who cares? And everybody's like, oh, the director's cut, which is like 45 minutes longer, is so much better. I'm like, and then it was on HBO Max. Like, I'm going to give this another try. And I went from, who cares? Why did you even make this? To, damn, that was a really good movie.
Wow.
The director's cut of Dr. Sleep is my random pick of the week.
What did they change? Just
it's just more. It's long. It's 40 or 45 minutes longer.
Okay.
And it makes all the difference. Some movies are just in the director's cut are just longer.
Yeah.
But not any better. This is dramatically better.
Okay. That's cool.
Anyway.
Yeah. So a TV show in the works for Netflix. They're doing like a pilot and do hopefully it gets picked up for a full series. As I say, every time Netflix comes up, I have problems with Netflix.
We'll get a season.
Despite the numbers apparently being pretty consistent, it definitely feels like Netflix cancels a lot of shit very early. Maybe they just get a lot more kind of odd stuff that might be more up my alley. So I feel the cancellations a little bit more. But, with both Sandman and potentially Something Is Killing the Children moving over there, that's good for comic stuff on Netflix. That's a big deal. Obviously the Marvel stuff was huge for them. Lost a little something there when all that stuff went to Disney Plus. But I need to catch up. I've only read the first trade, but I really, really like it. It's cool. It's kind of got that, my pitch for that and my pitch for what's called Department of Truth is like, Buffy, but darker, more serious, more violent, but that sort of female monster hunter, but different. It's not Buffy, but in that realm. Department of Truth is X-Files, but again, different. But if you like that sort of stuff, there's good stories there. So I really need to catch up with Something Is Killing the Children. But now we're getting the spin-off series, which should be, I'm sure, maybe one of top 5 highest ordered comics of the decade. It's going to be a monster hit for Boom and James Tynion and the artist. So yeah, it is going to be a crazy book. So yeah, if you're looking for something to jump on, all 3 volumes of Something Is Killing the Children should be readily available. I know we have volume 3 on back order right now, which is coming back in soon, but not like it's out of print or anything. Oh, and there's an awesome Boom's doing one of those great oversized hardcovers for the first part of that book. That will be my
it's a
copy.
slipcase as well.
Yeah, that will be, and I think. Is the slipcase the first print only or something?
Yes,
or is
they're only doing the slipcase on the first. Well, no, there's only going to be a printing of the slipcases done once.
They're
not
right.
doing it again.
Right. That is my copy. That is a copy I will suggest to order if you want to pick up. They're doing the best version.
Because I know Once and Future's getting that treatment, and something else Boom is doing is getting that treatment as well. I can't remember.
That doesn't surprise me.
But yeah, really, I'm super excited. I ordered it, so
Yep.
But hopefully they keep going with it, and it's not just a one-off slipcase thing. But
no, these won't. I mean, it's going to be what? It's basically three volumes, right? Isn't that?
I don't remember what was going to be in it, but yeah, that might be it.
I think. The great thing about being in the industry is I can actually just check right now. Let me take a look. The deluxe hardcover book 1 with the slipcase is, maybe it's the first 2 volumes. 1 through 15. Yeah, that's the first 3, right? Yep, that's the first 3 volumes. Mm-hmm. And the slipcase will be limited to its first print only. So, yep, there you go, $70. And yeah, I mean, that's fine because the trades are like $15, $20 each. So you're in the same ballpark as the as what the books would normally cost. So
yeah, I think it's still available. It hasn't hit FOC.
No. Hey, Brock. Hey, you know how I love telling you how we're going to have to store stuff at the warehouse? Guess what? We're going to store cases of it at the warehouse. The slipcover of that, because I'm going to order a fucking shitload. A shitload.
I need a credit card for my gas. Are we getting a store truck at this point?
You get the store truck. It's fine. I don't want to pay insurance on that. Yeah, you can pick up the shipment that week.
I've been picking up the shipments. They keep getting bigger and bigger, and your car can't handle it.
You gave me a space, and now I have to fill it.
Yeah, we already are going to have to get another warehouse on top of this.
I gave myself a space, and I have to fill it. That's just what happens. I can't help it. Stuff just keeps coming in. It's crazy. Another book coming up that I know all 3 of us here at the virtual table are very excited for. And, of course, all those Marvel chodes out there are probably rolling their eyes. But it's my podcast, baby. So if I want to talk about Tom King doing a new DC project, I'm going to, and that is Human Target with Greg Smallwood, fantastic artist who's finally getting some the credit he deserves. How amazing are those? Is that like those tease images that DC released and that Tom King released? How good is that art?
Oh,
It's fantastic.
Smallwood is great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like we're getting blue. We get blue and gold this week. We're getting Human Target.
So,
Like,
if you have seen the TV show, you have a somewhat. If you remember the TV show, first of all, you'll have a little bit of
it
an
ran
idea.
for 2 seasons.
You have a little bit of an idea of what Human Target is, but it is one of those books that I think it is a great character that just gets just completely overshadowed, and nobody, it's one of those great oddball DC characters that you just never, that nobody talks about. He shows up so randomly. So of course, the idea is that Christopher Chance. I think there was another Human Target. It was there's like another Human Target, but the one that's like that people know about is the current
Christopher
version.
Chance is the second one.
Yeah. I don't know. The first one, like that's like a Golden Age character or something, right?
Yeah, or maybe the 50s. If we're counting that as Golden Age.
Yeah, I don't really know what the deal with that character is, but I think it's like they just kind of took the idea, like Flash and Green Lantern did some of this other stuff. They sort of changed it up.
Yeah, Christopher Chance, off the top of my head, I'm going to look up after I say this to see if I was right. I think the one Christopher Chance is a Len Wein Carmine Infantino. He's from Action Comics, and I want to say early 70s.
You are 4 for 4.
Oh,
I'm looking at it right now.
All right.
Len Wein and Carmine Infantino, 1972's Action Comics 419.
What do I win? What's my prize?
So the cool thing about this character, and think of it like the Question or some of these other kind of or Mr. E or some of these other characters that DC have, John Constantine, not in like the magical sense, but he's a PI, like a bodyguard. But he basically, like, through disguises and makeup and other random ways, he takes on the identity of his clients who are being targeted for assassination. And so he is literally the human target. So you're going to get assassinated, or you think someone's after you. He takes your place. He then beats down the bad guy. And for Tom King, what a perfect character for him to write. That totally in his wheelhouse.
I hope he doesn't spin out a Rorschach.
Yeah. Well. Oh, and Rorschach too. And this feels, this from the art we've seen feels like maybe I don't want to say lighthearted, and it is Black Label, but maybe not as grim and not as dark or grim dark as they used to say.
I don't know, that Rorschach book is pretty dark, even though I
didn't know where it was going for a while. It is fantastic.
The journey.
No spoilers for Kevin. No spoilers for Kevin.
I'm going to read it all when it's done. I've only read.
That is the correct way to do it because it is a.
It takes you on a journey through comic.
It's a journey. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
After Far Sector, that might be my new business model for those 12-issue books.
Yeah.
It's just too spread out.
The first couple issues, again, I just didn't exactly know where the story was going because it's, told in these very individual chapters. But with the last couple, things are, kind of coming together. And really, like, the best, you don't have to, like, be a super Watchmen, like, uber nerd to know this stuff. I almost feel like if you are, it's almost, you're kind of fighting yourself the whole time you're reading it because this is like This is not the story I think people thought it was. If that makes sense?
It's more TV show Watchmen versus.
It's not. It's not even that.
It's not even that heavy.
It's called Rorschach, but they really didn't have to almost call it anything. I will leave it at that. I don't want to say anything. It's hard to beat around the bush without getting more specific. Anyway, Human Target.
Super excited.
So I don't know all the specifics. Obviously, is just being solicited now. However, and I'm sure there's going to be interviews with Tom King. Maybe I just haven't seen all the interviews. His clients or the people coming after his client, I should say, are none other than the Justice League International. So this is Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Fire, Ice, Adam Strange is on here, Batman, Guy Gardner, it appears. I am. So
you know who he's playing. Right?
Who's that?
He's playing Maxwell Lord.
That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that. I don't know if I need but it's weird to see that team on a Black Label title. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go.
Maybe the humor will actually notch up to where Justice League International was. It was almost there.
Yeah,
good.
But how about we don't do that?
I'm not talking Deadpool level.
No, but their balance in that book was just perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've already hit the subscribe button to that, so I'm waiting for it to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Unfortunately, before we move on to some movie TV stuff, we do have to once again, seems to be all too common these days, report on the death of a comic creator. That is Robson Rocha, who was a regular artist for DC. I don't know that there's been any. I have not read if there was a specific cause of death. I can only speculate based on comments from weeks prior where he had been hospitalized with COVID-19 and was in quote unquote dire need of blood donations. So unfortunately, COVID-19 related death is likely. I don't know for sure. If someone does, please let me know.
And he was, isn't he, like 40 years old or something?
He's young. Yeah. He wasn't that old. So he worked all through the 2010s and early 2020s, mostly for DC. I got a list here on Comic Resources. He was on Birds of Prey, Superboy, Batman, Superman, Lobo, Earth 2. That was all during New 52. And then
Screen Rant updated it. He did pass away due to COVID.
Okay, so COVID and COVID related. Yeah. Okay,
because he was a Brazilian artist, best known work with Green Lanterns and Aquaman.
Yeah. So his current the Rebirth stuff he did. If you've read more recent stuff, he did work on Justice League, but Green Lanterns he had a big run on Green Lanterns, and he had a big run on Aquaman as well. So it's always unfortunate, especially COVID, but. Get your vaccine, be safe, keep wearing a mask. Numbers are back up. We are back fully masked for every single person at the shop because
I have to say it, but there was a customer that came up and just the look on his face when he had to realize he had to go he didn't have a mask. It's so priceless. Mwah.
If you're wandering over to the store, I guess maybe, but who doesn't have 12 masks in their car right now? Are people just nope, it's done. I'm going to throw all the masks away. I'll never need one again. Who's doing that?
Sounds about right.
No.
Sounds about how people are thinking.
I'd keep them in your car forever because we're going to need them forever. So make sure you get some masks.
I will say, if you want to speak of something before we go to happier topics, I'll just tell you this was a conversation that I had with a MD who is probably, I don't know her age. She's not my doctor. It's a different doctor, but I'm going to say she was in her 60s. Let's just say that for the sake of this. And her comment was, for the rest of my lifetime, maybe both, this is going to be an issue. and people are gonna start thinking about it like rolling blackouts. Like China's closed right now, Canada's open, Brazil is closed, Australia's open, and you're just going to. And her comment was, for the rest of her life, she was prepared that was going to be the world situation. Good times.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Hopefully vaccine. Again, I don't want to go on too much about this.
But
you can follow my Twitter if you want to hear about this.
I know that was my detour into serious topics. Back to comics.
Yeah, back to comics. We are so Robson Rocha and his friends and family, obviously. Condolences and to DC. It's never great to lose a great artist. So hopefully. Hopefully this is not a regular occurrence. Industry does not need to lose more talented people.
Well, the sad thing is he's our age.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's a creator that's our age. So he's somebody who enjoyed the comics we enjoyed and made it in the industry. So it's
when a golden age, or hell at this point a silver age guy, hell at this point a bronze age guy passes away, you're sort of like, yeah, that's just where we are. The 70s were 50 years ago. Those guys are now, they were 20, they're now 70. So it makes sense that people that were working don't even think 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. We're thinking 70s and 80s. These guys are
like right now, as we speak, the elder statesman of comics would be Roy Thomas.
There's got to be some golden age guys. There's got to be like one or two. What's her name?
Ramona Fradon.
Ramona Fradon. Yeah. She's still around, right? And she's kicking ass from all accounts.
Ramona's in her mid 90s right now.
Yeah.
She's so Silver Age. I think of her as Silver Age.
Yeah. Early Silver Age stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, these guys are unfortunately. Yeah. Frank Miller, Alan Moore are, they're not like 30 anymore. Like that's just what you think about, right? Because like, oh yeah, it's in there. It's when they blew up, right? No, that was like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They were old. They were old to me then, and now it's like, oh no. Time keeps going. Before we get to Loki, we're gonna move over to a few movie. Well, actually, you know what? That's funny. You know why we didn't talk about the Something Is Killing the Children is because it was on my list right here to talk about this week. So there you go. I already did it. Look at that.
We already did it.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Are we going to do questions?
Nice.
Did I?
Hey, it's just a 3-man show. Let's give Kevin what he wants.
I might have
2015.
I might have had a question, or did not go to our Patreon, but I thought we did.
Before the bad times.
I got 2 questions. They're both about Loki, so we'll save those.
Damn. Nobody just asked some random one-off.
We'll save those. For
no. Craig P. Anderson asked about comic book binding. It's a recurring question he has.
We are going to move slowly, quickly, over to television for just a minute, because, and this is actually a conversation that'll come up during Loki, but one of the things that we didn't talk about for Black Widow was box office and numbers and Disney Plus numbers. I don't know how we didn't bring this up. Maybe we didn't have like real numbers by then.
It's been a while. We're not used to it.
Well, again, we'll talk about talking about this stuff when we talk about Loki, if that makes sense.
You say talk a lot.
We will talk about how we talk about this stuff when we get to Loki, because I've got some things to say. That said, Black Widow, $80 million from theatrical numbers. So that is, this is an end game, but good, right? Fast 9 earned $70 million. Again, in a normal world, that probably would have been pushing $100 million, probably. But I think $70 million in a pandemic is perfectly acceptable from from
Have ticket prices
theatrical
for
numbers.
movie theaters gone
I don't
up?
think so. So 80 million domestic, 78 million international, which again is great. But the big number is, of course, Disney Plus numbers, and that is $60 million in purchases via Disney Plus's Premier Access paywall. At $30 a piece, that is 2 million people, and two of them are sitting on this podcast, that paid
And that's money they get
100%.
Period.
Right. They
100%.
get
That's not even.
Yeah.
That's not even money they don't get because of the movie theaters get a cut, whatever, and it gets chopped down the line. That's them getting outright.
And I think
that money.
I don't think they would have made a penny more if it wasn't on Disney Plus. I think 80 million is probably about what that movie was going to do today. I think they got every penny they were going to get from the theater. I think that 60 million is pure gravy. And maybe they'll pay lip service to the movie theaters for Shang-Chi and just to see what it does. And when Shang-Chi rolls in 70 million domestic and 0 from Disney Plus, Disney goes, sorry, movie theaters. Every movie we release is going to be $30 on Disney Plus for Premier Access for the rest of our existence.
Wait, you just said $0 for Shang-Chi.
What, you're right. I think they will pay lip service to movie theaters for Shang-Chi. I think they will say no Disney Plus for Shang-Chi.
Oh, okay.
And they will make $0. And it won't make... Shang-Chi's not going to make 150 million. Shang-Chi's not going to make... I mean, it'll make 70. Maybe.
You're going to have a test case before Shang-Chi with Suicide Squad.
Oh, sure. Well, that's free too, which is an even bigger. Yeah.
And I am really torn on that one
because free.
Hey,
well,
Kevin,
not free.
Won't be sticky.
Not free. With included in the thing you already have paid for.
Yes.
Included in the cost of the thing you've already paid for. It's not free.
I'm torn.
But it won't be sticky floors. You won't have to sit in a folding chair.
I mean, I don't know what your apartment looks like. Like, maybe you do. I don't know. I don't see how they look at 60 million and go, we don't need that.
No. Yeah, we don't need that. They're going to be, that's all money. They're not going to, I think you're going to see that Premiere Plus just stick.
Kevin, as our resident person with some knowledge of Hollywood, do you want to make a call here?
I've been out of the game, man. I just don't. I would say, here's what I'd say.
You know people. Yeah, people are talking.
But the genie that you've let out of the bottle with that, yes, you get all that money for yourself without splitting with theaters. You've also streamed a high definition copy of your movie into private hands.
Oh, I'm sure. Piracy numbers were through the roof. Probably the most they've ever had for a movie.
So if the opening weekend, let's just pull I haven't looked at the Black Widow box office, so let's just pull a number out of thin air. What did you say it was in the theater?
80 million domestic, 78 international, and 60 Disney Plus.
Okay, so let's just add that to 158. Leave Disney Plus aside. Let's say 158 theatrically, right? Opening weekend. I would say second weekend would be 50. Because I would bet you nobody's going the second or the third weekend.
Why don't I look? I can probably actually tell you. They only get the night to the 15th.
Okay. Yes, because the thing is, the circumstance we're in right now with theaters, people are going to go or they're not going to go, right? If they're interested.
So it did about 20. What's this? 16. So it did about 25. It did about 20. So it went from 80 million to 25 million.
Yeah, and that's what you're. So yes, you're.
I feel like that's probably normal. Yeah,
That's a huge drop. That would
always do. Superhero movies always have huge drops, though.
They do have huge drops, but they're normally not that.
That's like over a 50% drop.
Yeah, you would see a drop to like 70% if it was something good. It like you don't start seeing 50% until like a few weeks out,
unless it's a shitty movie and the word's out after week 1.
Exactly.
But I think in this case, my point is, if there was no these are huge ifs. If there was no pandemic and thus no Disney Plus premiere option, that number would not have been that off of a cliff after one weekend.
Well, so it is the second highest second week drop for an MCU movie. But that is just, I think, a normal thing. Ant-Man and Wasp is 62%. I'm looking, I don't have a full list here, but there was, like BVS was 69%. I'm trying to see if I could find other ones, but they tend to, that tends to be so it dropped 67%. That tends to be common though, for superhero movies. They have a
huge draw and then it falls off unless it's something big like Endgame or Infinity War or something like that's top,
or Wonder Woman, the first one.
Yeah.
So like Spider-Man Homecoming dropped 62%. Days of Future Past dropped 64%. Deadpool 2 dropped 65%. Yeah, I mean, it's just they just all do. I mean, obviously the Suicide Squad was 67%. I mean the worst movies drop more. Man of Steel was 67%. X-Men Origin Wolverine was 69%.
I think that maybe with those percentages, what's getting disguised with those percentages is that they have a humongous box office that then goes to just a big one.
Yeah.
This has a big box office that goes to a poor one in the second weekend. And all I'm bringing up is I think that the Disney Plus is responsible for that to a large degree.
Oh,
because
I'm
people are going to share the account. People are going to make their own copy, etc.
Yeah.
And if you want to go forward with that plan, you're going to have enemies as the theater owners.
Well, this is the question. Do you think Disney Plus made $30 million its second week, or do you think they made $2 million its second week?
I can't imagine anybody paying for it the second week. Like if you're that excited that you're going to drop 30 for something, it's because you want to see it right now.
Right. So that's what I think. I don't think this is a Black Widow's a flop movie. No. I think this is we are still in the middle of a global pandemic, and I don't think there was another option here. The people that were going to see it saw it opening weekend. You'll get people wander in randomly that want to go, but the people that were going to watch it online. I don't think you would have done any better. And the movie theaters can be mad about that, but I don't.
Well, it's how we're moving, right? We're moving to people. More people are going to just want to do it in the comfort of, watch something in the comfort of their home. And
look, I'm totally like, comic books and video games are two things that I have personal collections of. I buy my video games almost, for console stuff. I buy physical copies, right? I don't want to buy digital only copies. When it comes to the movies, in a perfect world, I would love to go to the movie theater all the time. But in the current world, I am more than happy to watch everything at home. So I still want that theater experience, but sorry, multi-billion-dollar movie theater chains going up with multi-billion-dollar movie studios. You guys got to figure this shit out. The studios can leave you behind in a heartbeat. I'm not saying get rid of movie theaters. I would never say, I would hate that. But maybe we don't need, campus-sized 20 movie screen massive complexes the way we do now, where a bunch of jerk-offs pay $10 and fucking throw feces all over the place. Like, give me and I've said this before, give me a more a better experience at the movie theater, a more, I don't say private or personal, but something different. How many families with 5 kids are they going to be dragging to the movie theaters when tickets are $25 a pop? It's just not going to happen, right? Movie theaters, the price.
Look at me. I'm a single dad of 2 kids, right?
Yeah, it's like
if I went to the movie theaters.
Yeah, but if you're getting food and shit, like $50-$60.
Yeah. But even because I podcast, right? Normally I would go see it first, right? So that's what, $12. And then I would take my kids if I was going, okay, they can see it, right? So I would take my kids. So that's another $12 for me and another like virtually $10 each for them.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm spending $24. For them, I'm spending $20. And then, we get like popcorn or whatever. I'm out like $60 by the time I'm done watching the movie twice. Easy. Whereas if I pay premium, I could do it at home. My kids are good in the theater. They're not like rambunctious a-holes.
Yeah.
But like, I remember distinctly going and seeing Wild Things and sitting next to a family that brought their kids to a late show. And I'm sitting there and the little kids going, oh, I can't watch this during certain scenes. And I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where I think movie theater people are going to go to the movie theaters because of the experience, because of what it is, right? And then you're going to have people that are going to stream because they want to see it, but they don't necessarily need to go see it in the theater, right? You're going to have those people that go the next weekend because they don't want to deal with crowds. You're going to have people that wait to see if their friends like it or what the reviews are saying, and then they'll make the purchase for the streaming, or they'll go to the theater. So it's like, I think it's just giving more options to the consumer, but I understand also protecting like their property, as in the movie not getting pirated, and movie theaters actually having enough customers to stay open.
Sure. The piracy thing is unavoidable. There's a million programs out there that can copy stuff off Disney Plus and Netflix and all that, and you have to ignore that because you can never win that fight. The more you clamp down, the more they find ways to get around you. Just ignore it. It's
the more star systems will sit through your
there's nothing you can do about it. You will never win if you try to fight piracy on that level. It just will never happen. Like, the pirates will beat you every single time. So make a good quality product, make something people are going to want to go see. Hollywood, the movie theater, is going to figure it out because it's going to happen overnight. One studio, and it could be Disney, makes that decision that, Warner Brothers did it and kind of pulled back, but they're probably in the right to keep it for 2021 because, again, unless you're Bubble Boy Toby over there that wants to go in his hazmat suit, a lot of people still aren't going to go to the theaters. But I think again, I don't want to say kiss movie theaters goodbye, but I don't think the experience is ever going to be the way it was ever. I think this was the trigger event that's just going to cause a complete shift.
Well,
and
Disney also owns theaters.
Yeah. So
they are surely running numbers or have run numbers behind the scenes before making any decisions.
They own Chinese, right?
Yeah, and Pantages.
Yeah.
I think is their other theater.
Yeah, I don't know. Movie theaters are fucking amazing. I love going to the movies. It needs to be a different experience. It needs to be a premium experience. It needs to be get ushers back in, clean the fucking place.
So you're thinking of theaters like the ArcLight.
You need to have food, right? I mean, it needs to be a different experience. And I understand that doesn't work for everyone. I totally understand. But again, it's just even for $30 for any normal family, I always love the expression DINK, right? Double income, no kid, right? For me and Leanne, it's a totally different thing. When you're a family, 5-6 people or whatever, going to the movie theaters is just out of the question most of the time. Even 3 people, if you're mom and dad and 1 kid, that is not an experience you probably want because your kids is screaming nightmare and it ruins it for everyone. Watching it at home is going to win out every single time. They've given people a way to watch the stuff from home, and I don't think it's going to go back. And it allows those people to not go to the movie theater, so the movie theater can be a better experience for the people. Yep. I'm not saying everyone in the movie theater has to be like a rich single people with no kids. That's not what I'm saying. It just needs to be, there needs to be a different experience, because I love going to the movies, but I hate, sorry, let me rephrase this. I love the movie theater, but I hate going to the movies. I love the idea of what a movie theater experience can be, but I am on edge because of every jerk in the theater that's going to ruin my experience every time.
Well, I mean,
this break has not made it better. I have no clue when I'm going to go back. I really don't know if I want to.
I mean, and you can wear sweatpants to the movie theater, so it's not like
wear sweatpants here.
It's a comfortable thing, but no, I think like growing up, you know, for me, the bad movie theater experience was you always had that a-hole that had the laser pointer. Remember when laser pointers were big? And then you'd have some a-hole that was like, let me bring this in and screw with everybody, right? Or you have like the loudmouth jerk. And it's like, you know, I think in my lifetime, I've had one experience where somebody's been removed from a movie that I've been watching. Right. But yeah, it's people are going to decide what's the best course for them. Yeah. And I think giving more options allows for you to at least tap into some of that money. Right.
I don't think the genie goes back in the bottle.
No, it's not.
I think they'll have one or two movies and they'll not pull the same numbers in, and then Disney flips. And once Disney does, forget it. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Because if you want your streaming service to survive, if you want Disney, Warner Brothers, or Discovery, Warner Brothers to be a big thing, if you're, you know, random company X, you know, random movie company, and you're like, well, I guess I can just put it on Netflix, and they're going to give me more money than I'll make going to the theater. Like, it's guaranteed cash up front. I don't know. Toby?
Well, and then the thing is, I think the movie theaters also, I know Toby's here, but I think the movie theaters also can kind of harken back to bringing the experience for, you know, like old movies, bring back those again. Like, I know that some smaller theaters were doing like, you know, oh, we're showing Back to the Future, or, you know, we're showing this. I think you might see a kind of resurgence of stuff like that.
I love that stuff. I love it.
Where I think more and more people will want to be like, for me, it's like, I haven't watched that last Hobbit movie.
Oh, you're fine.
I know. But like, I've seen all of them in the theater except that one. So part of me is like, I just want to go to that one in the theater. I mean, I'll watch it eventually, but it's like, I just want to go to that one in the theater to kind of say it.
No, you don't.
Oh man, don't kill it for me, guys.
Toby, as a big movie buff, does Black Widow making $80 million domestic but $60 million on Disney Plus give you concern about the future of movie theaters? Is this the end?
No, I don't think so.
Is it just more money for Disney?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if movies were safe to go to right now, even though I watched it like 3 times at home, I probably would just go watch it in the movies again. So, I mean, I love movies. I want to see it on the big screen. I want to, you know, I'm the jerk that's the, you know, the Sheldon in the movie theater. I want my center seat, as in center from the middle and center from the top and down. You know, so I get my best experience, but, and I go early in for that. But I mean, I came halfway in on this talk. I mean, once it's safe, for me, things are not going to change. I'm going to watch all my movies in the theater anyways, and then I'll watch them again at home. I mean, I watch.
Also, I should say, I don't think they're the big theater experience. You know, the Marvel movies are making the theatrical, the theater companies all the money in the world, right? That's where all their money's coming from. Shit like that and Fast and Furious. Right? They're huge money makers for movie theaters. So these things I don't think are going away, but I think the experience is going to shift dramatically for a lot of people. If I think they see the numbers I don't think they're going to have everything exclusive in theaters. I think they'll have maybe some.
That's been like this for a while now, right? A lot of independent movies are going straight to Netflix. They don't even bother with film festivals anymore. But film fest is still around. So all in all, I feel like trends will come back around. In 10, 20 years from now, film festivals were going to be a big giant thing again. So,
but. So Shang-Chi, as far as I know, movie theater only.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Eternals, Doctor Strange.
Well, Spider-Man's not Marvel's call, right?
But still, I think it's the same situation. I think if Sony's able to get that Disney Plus money, if they're able to work something out,
so
if Sony has its own
I don't
way to
think the streaming
sell it
money
digitally,
as much as you think it is.
What's that?
I don't think the streaming money is as much as you think it is.
I mean, I just gave you the number. Disney reported 80 million domestic.
One movie. And
yeah.
That's a AAA movie.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange.
Ryan, here's a question for you. If there was no pandemic, so don't worry about why this would be happening. Let's just say if there was no pandemic and Suicide Squad was premiering on HBO Max the same day it was opening in theaters, how would you watch it?
Oh, I'd see it in the theater. Absolutely. But yeah, if this was 2019, I'd see it in the theater 100%.
Even though you hate going to the movies?
I'd still see. Oh, like I said, I still, if things had not changed and I had not been to a movie theater in 2 years, I'm sure I'd be like, yeah, of course I'm seeing this in the theater because it's the best experience.
Now Kevin is saying even though it's available for home, you would still go to the theater.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Well, I think it's also because of when we go to the theater, right? We're going 10 o'clock technical midnight release, 9 o'clock technical midnight release.
Yeah, but like six o'clock. I go to the 6 o'clock Thursday shows. But that's what I mean, right? Because I've had this break. Because I've had
going at the same time that other real true fans and wanting to watch the experience.
Oh, there's jerks there too. Like
I know, but the chances of you getting jerks is lessened because of that, right? It's if you're going like opening weekend in the middle of the day, you're probably going to have a lot more jerks than you are the people that want to watch it, opening night. What's the chain that kind of almost went out of business, but is Regal? Brandon?
No.
Locally?
No. Well, they have stuff all over they have a couple all over the country. There was one
Draft House.
Yeah, the Alamo Draft House. If that was a more standard situation for movie theaters, if that was kind of the norm, with maybe some sort of like privatized partition between groups, and then I'm pretty much in. I want smaller. I don't give me those big 20 movie theater plexes with 1 billion people running around and a bunch of 17-year-olds running the place. Like, again, that premium experience, I think, is the future of movies. Because I just don't think, I think anyone that's going to want to shove their 6 kids into the movie theater, they're not going to do it. They're going to go on Netflix. They'll never go to the movie theater again. And I think that's where that money is for those people, because you're not going to get those kids in the theater. You're not going to get those families bringing their kids to the theater ever again. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think this was the break. A bunch of single dudes like us, not single dudes like us, but a bunch of single, as in like individuals, one-offs going by ourselves to the theater.
So you're willing to pay like $50 a movie?
$50 for a movie?
Yeah.
If it was a choice of a like premium experience, a kind of private little area, you're able to like get food or something.
Then you're talking $75.
I mean, sure, yeah, like a couple times a year, yeah.
Times a year. Hold on, that's a key word right there.
Yeah,
that's not going to work, dude.
Well, but I mean, that's what I mean. I would rather do that than
that's what the Alamo Draft House really is. You go watch.
I know. But there's just
spending like $100 easily.
Yeah, I know, but there's just not enough of them. They're not over the place. But that's what I mean. If you're
not enough, there's one like just up in the city.
Yeah, I know, but that it's not here. It's not 15 minutes from my house.
Well, I did that twice a year. I would splurge and go have food and have beer and have a movie experience, but that can't last. I'll do that twice a year, but I watch movies on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. I don't want the unquote, like, what's it called, higher experience. I want my good quality theater, and I want to pay my $10 and that's it.
Sure, but I'm talking about more than just us. You know, the people that the families that have to bring 5 people to the theater, 6 people to the theater.
Those are definitely not going to those high-end experiences.
No, they're not going to the regular theaters either, is what I'm saying. Disney Plus is the answer for that. Netflix is the answer for those people. They will never go to the theater again. They don't need to, right? And I think
the ticket to theater prices have been slowly creeping up.
They always will, of course.
Right. You know, so as those crept up, it's, you know, like you said, it's more and more and more and more. But if they can, watch it at home, boom, you know, $30 is a lot less money than, you know,
I think
$50, $75 to just the regular.
I think most families going to the theater is just not affordable, right? Again, that's what I was saying, Toby. I think for people like us, it's totally fine either way, right? But I think if you're a family of 4 or 5, you can easily drop $80 or $100 going to the movie theater. You're buying popcorn, snacks for everyone, tickets. If it's a night, the adults can be $16, $17 a ticket. If it's IMAX, right around here, it's easily that much. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think movie theaters are going away, but I think Black Widow, man, that's a $60 million straight in the Disney pockets. A big amount of money, and I think that is going to be a massive wake up to the movie theater, or to the movie companies, that people are willing to pay that money. Now, I don't know how well Mulan and some of these others did. The numbers I heard were not, like, it wasn't on the same level. I think this showed that that big movie will still do good box office, because I did it 80 million domestic. I don't think it would have made a penny more if it wasn't on Disney Plus. I think the people that were going to watch it went, and the people that weren't watched it on Disney Plus. That's just pure profit. But we can move on to Loki. Something much less controversial, I'm sure.
I will have to settle my existential dilemma about Suicide Squad in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, are you going?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just got the email because I have a membership card, a theater membership, and so I had Black Widow was free because I had a credit. But now that I've used that, I get the email saying, "Okay, would you like to reactivate? The billing starts in August." I'm like,
well, mine already reactivated, so I'm already like $25 in the hole, and I probably will just cancel it.
Are they just cranking?
I just see what my hesitation about reactivating is. I got to know that there's enough things that will be available to watch. I mean, I'm happy to go to the theater. I just don't want to go watch Fathom Event, The Empire Strikes Back. Nothing against that movie. I just mean I need some know that there's going to be new content.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to.
I'm not going to the theater anytime soon because
Fast and Furious. But other than that, I mean.
All right, let's hit it.
Loki. We're gonna talk spoilers. We're gonna talk everything here. Now, got a couple things to say before we really go.
Did you get your crow prepared?
Look, there was a lot of talk on what was clearly going to happen in the finale. Who was going to show up? Who was clearly never going to show up because it's a ridiculous fan theory. And let me just say that while the finale was clearly, I think, from at least a number of us on the podcast, maybe went in a bit of a different direction than we were expecting. It went in the way a lot of people thought it might. I'm definitely not here to say that's a good thing. So I like Twin Peaks. I like Lost. I do often like some mystery box stories, right? And Twin Peaks is not really, but you really can't figure it out. They could kind of do whatever, and it would have worked. I'm sure David Lynch knows, but No one else ever will. I love Lost, right? Again, the J.J. Abrams concept of a mystery box, right? That's the expression they use on his stuff, where it's like, oh, what's in it? We don't know. Oh, it could be anything, and it doesn't really matter, right? I think where it changes is when that happens on, chapter 32 of a basically never-ending story, right?
Okay, sorry. Never-ending story.
Loki is not stuck in a its own little one and done, and this is the end, and it's super weird. And we watched Dark on Netflix a little while ago, and that was one confusing ass fucking TV show. And I kind of was like, by the time I just really liked it at the first, but I kind of went all over the place. By the end, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I have no idea why anything is happening or who anyone is or what. But okay, fine, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. We made multiple comments about, well, clearly the bad guy can't be Kang because Kang is not a character in this TV show. And that would make no sense because it would be this random thing out of nowhere. So...
Well, and they had also said that you're first going to see Kang in Ant-Man Wasp.
Sure, and there's all sorts of and there's all
which is still true.
There's all sorts of pedantic answers to this.
That is technically true,
right? Yes. This is not Kang, right? This is
a variant.
Immortus, if you want, or more precisely, what is his face?
The one that lasts.
He Who Remains, which I believe that actually is a version of Kang from Avengers Forever. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are Immortus and Ramatud and He Who Remains and all these characters are distinctly different characters from Kang the Conqueror. That said, when Marvel tries to pull that shit of like, well, it's not actually the Mandarin. Well, it's not actually Man-Ape. It's M'Baku. Or, it's the Mandarin, but it's not the Mandarin. It's like, okay, fuck off. It's the Mandarin. It's Man-Ape. It's fine. It's totally fine. This is Kang, right? This is Kang. All
this is a Kang.
All asides, right?
It's a variant.
So I was more fine with this until the other day when I was actually, again, being right or wrong about the outcome of a TV show. It's like, okay, like I don't do this for.
Aren't you furious when you're wrong? That's how I understand it.
Yeah, I do like, okay, well, if it works, it works, right? I don't do this like, I'm not keeping score of being right or wrong or anything like that. Like, it's cool. I guess it's cool when you call something, but like, I'm not going to say like, I mean, yeah, sure. It's fun when you call something and you're right, but like.
It's way more fun when you're wrong. It's like when they cross over the timeline and suddenly he doesn't know what's going to happen. That's more fun.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. The point where I started to have more of a problem over the last couple of days, and we'll get more into the specifics of the episode.
So would you say this is where you branched away?
It is. We'll get to the specifics. I just wanted to get this out front. I watched it. I have major problems with the final episode. We'll get to it in a second. But I thought about it at the end, and I said, okay, look, second season got announced. They tell you at the very end of the thing. Okay, cool. That's fine. We'll get the whole story. We'll get the whole background. We'll get everything. Clearly, this was the plan from the start. Okay, Kang gets introduced. He's gonna, he'll Loki 2 will be done and out before Ant-Man. Who knows what they're gonna do in any of the other stuff? But it's fine. It's fine. This story is going to maintain and be within Loki. Until I read comments by the director of the show, Kate Herron, who says there was never meant to be a second season of Loki. There's an interview in Variety. It says, when I started, there wasn't a discussion of season 2. It was just that it was just that season of Loki. As we got deeper into production, everyone was very happy, and obviously there's so much to explore with Loki. It felt like we should continue the story. So I think the cliffhanger ending came in later in the process. That implies to me that while the cliffhanger, and then I love the cliffhanger. Cliffhanger is great. I'm very excited to see more Loki. The Kang part seems like was always the plan. That this show was going to end with random villain that nobody knows anything about, that no one's ever heard of, shows up in the final episode, explains, talks to the audience for 20 minutes and explains the plot of the show that we had no idea existed.
You mean Lucifer'd it? Because that's what Lucifer does in Sandman Season of Mists. He just explains why he's leaving.
Sure.
As he's closing up shop.
But that was like...
And then he hands the key over.
But that was
like,
part of a chapter of a thing. This is like the end of the story.
But that's the thing is like this whole drawn out like...
Yeah. And then so the plan was to give Sylvie the idiot ball. And this was always the intended ending of the show. So I really enjoyed the show until the finale. I enjoy the aspect of the multiverse being a thing. That's cool. I like the post-credit scene. That was neat. I'm excited for more Loki. I love Tom Hiddleston. I love Loki. It's just incredibly baffling that this really is how they ended the show, because it is just so poorly done. I'm watching the show just like, this is really it, huh? This is it. Now, like I've got a lot of thoughts. I've got a lot of thoughts about this. I want other people to jump in.
Kevin,
I need to because I need to take
you for Kevin to come in.
I need to take a minute.
You feel it clapped. We must talk amongst ourselves.
Well, because he doesn't care about our opinions. It's yours, Kevin.
No, I don't know what any of you guys think other than Ryan. So, wow, I'm torn here.
Just be honest.
This was my favorite of the three shows, for sure, of the three Marvel series.
Was or is?
Is.
Okay.
If you, and I've brought this topic up before, I don't remember what we were discussing, but I'm going to repeat it, in that if I handed you the script for that episode, or if somebody handed it to me, I would go, wow, so your two protagonists are sitting in chairs listening to a brand new character talk for the bulk of the episode. Are you sure you want to do that? Because it's the ending of The Wizard of Oz, which was a lot shorter. It's the architect scene from Matrix Reloaded. Those scenes are kind of a drag when it's just a brand new character explains everything. In this case, I liked Jonathan Majors' weird performance so much in that scene. He was so off kilter and strange that Can you disagree?
Can I jump in? Fucking hated it.
Well, see,
hated.
I loved it, and that's what saved the scene for me.
I was grimacing through the entire thing. It was so ham-fisted and over the top, and at conflict with the entire show.
But it's it
was a choice.
It's a choice, and it's a man behind the curtain scene. And if you're going to do that, you're kind of locked in on who's going to be it can't just be some dude behind a desk from the TVA. It's got to be something weird. It has to be something weird. It's a choice. I think here's my problem, and then I really want to hear Toby's thought on this. And Brock, I don't even know what you thought at all since the last time we talked, which was maybe 2 episodes ago. I brought up The Empire Strikes Back as Fathom event when we're talking about theaters. Here's my issue with Loki. Even though this is still my favorite of the Marvel shows, this is the last thing I'll say. I will always argue for Star Wars as the better movie, by meaning A New Hope, because you can hand that to somebody with no knowledge of anything, and they will have a satisfying meal, even if they never experience anything in that universe ever again. You cannot do that with The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, people could follow what's going. These people are being chased. This guy's training with this little lizard. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Here's the bad guy. Here's the good guy. I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying it is not satisfying. It's not complete. It's a bridge between two other things, and Loki is a bridge between two other things.
It's a bridge between like 6 other things.
Yeah, but we're all invested because we've watched all the other Marvel stuff, and we're going to watch Quantumania, and we're going to watch Loki season 2. But if somebody had never seen anything else,
it's meaningless.
What the fuck would this thing be?
Yeah. So this is my biggest fear for the MCU going forward, because I feel like even until kind of the end of Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that, they kept this where I think phase 1, of course, you can watch any of those movies and you're in. Like, there's no explanation needed. Even like Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 and Winter Soldier, like I think you get the gist of the movie start to finish, right?
Yeah.
I don't think like you're shoved into this world that's completely unexplainable. I think those movies,
every movie was a Bond movie, right? It told the story it needed to tell for that. It had what it like the nugget at the end to carry it over into teasing something.
And right? This is what I was kind of hinting at before about how we talk about this stuff. There's the it's changed from what do we think about the movie, and that was a fun post-credit scene, to what do you think about the post-credit scene? Oh yeah, that movie attached to it was also fun. I feel like our conversation on Black Widow, we're guilty of this. Like, I'm not saying we're not. Like, we're totally guilty of this. I feel like our conversation about Black Widow is all about the post-credit scene. I feel like the whole conversation around WandaVision is, how is this going to leave these characters and where do they go next? Yeah. Not the context of we're waiting for the end, not enjoying what we're doing.
The journey.
And Falcon and Winter Soldier had elements of it, but it's pretty inconsequential, because the day the finale airs, they announce Captain America 4, and it's all about Falcon, and that is the path. Loki, far and away, is the worst offender of this, because it comes from... And Endgame and Infinity War are... I think they're totally incomprehensible if you haven't seen everything. But that's fine. I'll give you those. That's what you were kind of building to, so I'll give you that. That's okay. But I think even like Far From Home was mostly a movie into itself, and I think that's okay. I think
the things that affected the movies were summed up very quickly, right? Like in Far From Home, there was the blip, people were gone, then they came back, now we're moving on, right?
Yeah, I think you can be mostly unaware of the MCU movies and still enjoy that movie for what it is. I'm concerned that the conversation has shifted so dramatically since Endgame, and the TV shows, which should be totally standalone or continue into their own seasons, are not that. They are just vehicles to
keep people watching, keep people looking at things, keeping people aimed at, an MCU movie's coming out, and so I still have to be excited about it because I watched.
And this is a again, a problem with serialized fiction like comic books, where you have lots of threads and crossovers and tie-ins. And as a comic fan, I can enjoy that. But as a TV and movie fan, I don't really need that. Again, Crisis on Infinite Earths can be a super fun event in the CW thing, and you can dip in and dip out as you want, and you can watch it or ignore it or whatever. But if every season of Arrow or Flash was a tease to a lead-in to a different show, like
or a movie,
like it's not its own story anymore. And I kind of feel like the end of Black Widow goes in the same thing where because of the character's fate and because she's dead, and the movie's like, well, that was a cool untold tale, but the real important part is the post-credit scene, because that's the fan theory, that's the talk, right? It's setting up into another thing, and you can have the tease at the end, but it's like, oh, what is this going to do? We now have this like very detailed map of everything going into everything, and that's not a television show. That's an advertisement.
They're all guilty of that, though. All three of them have been guilty of that.
What, the TV shows?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That really has me concerned.
No, yeah. And I'm just saying, Loki is my favorite, not because it didn't commit those sins, because it was the most tonally consistent all the way through. It felt like the most singular vision all the way through, whereas those other two shows, as much as I like the first half of WandaVision, they're kind of lurching around all over the place in parts.
Well, WandaVision and Loki both have the same problem of the final episode is just, and now we push you to the next thing, and we just wrap it up in kind of a completely not good way.
Well,
now Toby had done a 180 on Loki, from not liking it to liking it.
Yeah, I did another 180 after that.
Whoa!
Toby did a full 360.
Well, but just to get back or to the point that you were making about like the TV shows, Toby, and I know I'm agreeing with Toby.
What?
Toby said this about,
I didn't say anything yet.
No, this is something you said before.
Okay. May have done a 180 on that too.
Okay, I'm just probably not. But Toby had said about Falcon Winter Soldier that there's no point to this show. At the end of Endgame, Cap hands him the shield. And at the beginning of Cap 4, he has the shield. Nothing that happened in that show really has any impact on anything.
Except he's going to be in the different suit. But they could just explain that.
Yeah. Like,
this is my suit. Here we go.
This is my suit. Like, yeah. It doesn't, like, there's no point to that show if all it really did was say, yeah, he picked up the shield and went with it. Like, okay, he went with the shield. Okay, cool. Now I'm watching Cap 4. Like, I think that Loki and WandaVision add a little bit more like questions out there. Like, what's going to happen? Where is this going? Why is Wanda in Doctor Strange? Where did White Vision go? Like, Loki, it's like, well, what's Loki going to do now? How's this multiverse of madness now going to affect Doctor Strange?
You can't have
Ant-Man
movies can't have the little editor's note box that says watch Loki for the full story, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same. So,
like, it's one of those things where you watch we don't get things like in the scroll of a Star Wars movie. Oh, and if you want more information, read this book series, this comic book series, and this, right? And
I don't mind little fan things in the back. I don't mind little Easter eggs. I don't mind TV shows that want to go off and do their own thing, but the show should be its own thing. I'm not watching a Loki TV show to get an advertisement for Ant-Man, and I mean, I get rumored that he's going to be Doctor Strange, but like, okay, that's fine. I don't need that. I don't care.
It's Loki sets up Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Ant-Man, right?
That's
because of the multiverse and all that stuff. That's a lot. Wanda sets up Doctor Strange, right? And in some cases, Spider-Man.
We don't know, right? We don't know.
But like and then the end of Black Widow sets up the Hawkeye TV show.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's everything's becoming an advertisement for something else when it shouldn't be about advertising stuff. It should be, this is the next part of the story.
But I feel like, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. I feel like in the phase 1 and phase 2, phase 1 stuff leading up to Avengers, I feel like, they're going to do this like Avenger. That's cool. But but it was just sort of this thing in the background. I don't know if the conversation just feels like it just shifted so hard to be like, we're teasing the thing that's in the next thing, and that thing is the thing that you're going to want to watch. It's not, you're not focused on the thing you're currently watching. But Toby,
yeah,
you did your 360. Give us some thoughts.
Well, there was a lot of talking, and then there was a magical episode, and then there was a lot of talking at the end.
And that's the thing. You want to give me Tom Hiddleston talking to people for 45 minutes once a week?
I
love it.
I'm actually genuinely surprised you don't like the end, because when I was watching it, I'm like, this is like Ryan Jerkwat shit. Because here he is, he's going to talk about philosophical shit and the other shit and more shit, and he keeps on talking, and he's like, but he preacher and blah blah. And I'm like, this is right up Ryan's alley. So like, Ryan,
but that's the difference, and maybe Kevin can maybe explain it a little bit better than I can. But to me, the problem with the episode is you have it's not just him being charming and funny and sort of, like there's a little bit of like Doctor Who kind of Jack Harkness, level of kind of swagger to Loki in this show. Like that is the most amazing thing. I want that so badly. This was Loki sitting in a chair just going, what's this? What's happening? Who's this? Why is anything happening? Who are you? Why is this the thing? Like,
I like myself. I'm hot.
That was fucking awkward. I don't like the romance thing. That never clicked well with me. I completely forgot that actually happened until you just mentioned it.
It fits with the character, though.
Sure, but
talk about somebody that is so vain.
Yeah, sure.
The only thing that they can do is love themselves. So the only love interest they could ever have is a variant of themselves.
Yeah. Wait, hold on, Toby. When was the 180 when you went to liking it? It was the fourth with the other Lokis.
No, it's where they reveal that all the TVA people are variants, and they start realizing that their life is not really what it is, and they start questioning everything.
Yeah, all the Loki variants was episode 5.
Oh, and I guess if we're talking about
because at that point, I feel like it flipped the switch, because, I feel like everything was a setup for them. That was like the magical episode for me, because at that point, I was like, okay, you're paying off everything that you've been setting up and made me wait for. And I really, really like that. Like, when the black woman starts questioning everything, when Owen, what's Morpheus? Or what's his name? Mobius, when he starts questioning things, why... why he was having those water ski thingies, magazines on his desks and stuff. That was probably part of his previous life.
They never pay that off. They never pay that. Well, like they make this character, but they never pay it off, right?
I mean, all of that stuff I thought was magical. I was like blown away by that episode. I really, really liked it. It was like episode 4 of WandaVision, which Ryan hated for me, but it.
I think episode 6 is like the episode 4 of WandaVision, where they're like, we're going to explain everything. Yeah, random people explain to have no context with the show. But that's so. My God, I just totally lost what I was going to say.
Okay.
Wow, I completely fell right out of my head.
Ryan, did you enjoy the journey of Loki, even if you didn't like the last episode?
Oh yeah. And so then that's. I have massive problem with Falcon and Winter Soldier. We don't need to get into that. Overall, I really liked WandaVision. There's a lot of really fun stuff in there. I feel like it kind of flubs itself at the end. It just because it can't end, right? The story can't end. It can't. Loki, it did the same thing. Loki can't end because it's just going to go into another thing. But getting there, loved it up until the end. My
problem is I like the other Loki so much more. Like
Sylvie.
No, like the original Loki. I thought his journey was done. I mean, even Tom Hiddleston said he thought he was done, right? So there was glimpses in this show where I really enjoyed it. Like when he saw himself die, when he saw his own future, I really loved that stuff. obviously the TVA stuff that I just mentioned. So there's kernels of stuff that I really, really enjoyed the show. But overall, and no offense to Tom Hiddleston, because I quite like him, or the filmmakers, or the people making decisions. I was just bored in this show. Like, it wasn't for me. Like,
do you get my comparison to first couple modern Doctors, where they just sort of run around, they're yelling a bunch of stuff, kind of wacky hijinks
I
and
what you're saying, but the Doctor. I see what you're trying to say, but the Doctor to me, it was always like, if it was done well, they would turn everyday normal things into stuff you could be scared of. Which...
Oh, I'm not saying it's the same like plot or anything like that,
I
but
know
that...
what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of... Yeah, I understand what you're referring to, and I see the references. I
just mean, like... He's so charming. He's a good actor. I can just listen to him talk to characters all day. If that's what the show was about, him just sort of, procedural of him going around. And
but I feel like he didn't do any of that stuff in the show. I mean, sure, a little bit, but I would have enjoyed it more if he actually did turn some of the TVAs against each other. Like,
him talking to Owen Wilson, like the conversations with him and Mobius, I loved. Right? Again, I think that's the part you thought was boring. I just they're sort of kind of tit for tat. They're going back, a little back and forth.
Their character interaction was really good.
I did really enjoy it.
The way I looked at Mobius and Loki's conversations were like, Mobius was in and ready for him, right? But I would have liked if Loki would have played some couple other TV agents against each other. So the Loki, the stuff I like about Loki, I feel like just wasn't in this show.
So if I'm gonna say, remember Kang is not like the villain of the show. I think when people were asking about the villain, and this is what I was going to say earlier, because but to your point, Toby, about the other TVA agents, right? Because Renslayer is the bad guy of the show. Like, I think that is.
Is that the black lady?
Yeah. There is a
the court
the judge. But she's black. The main woman in the not Sylvie, the other main woman in the show.
It's like Owen's girlfriend almost, kind of.
Not the one that they sort of wake up. The other one. So
the one who's the principal in real life.
Yeah, she is the bad guy of the show, right? I mean, and I think that is something from the early episodes. People are like, oh, Kang. It's like, well, no, Kang is the bad guy. He's not a bad guy at all. He may run the TVA, but he's not a bad guy. She's the villain of the show that sort of has a bit of a turn at the end. So I think
she's more of an antagonist versus a
villain. I have to say, though, I got really, really happy when the first thing in that episode was the damn clock talking. I was like, oh shit, is Charlie really going to get the clock villain?
There was talk that they were going to have a fight scene with Miss Minutes, but they didn't do it.
After all this time, isn't it funny now to think back on Tom Hiddleston as Thor, as having, like, that's how he got on Marvel's radar, because he was in to read for Thor.
Yeah. I'd be a very different Thor.
Oh my God, I literally can't imagine it at all.
No, not at all.
So, is it my turn?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we've all been talking.
I remember you were talking about it before. I thought that was like your take.
Yeah.
No, it was not so. For me, I think the end of Loki was so much exposition, right? And so much just, they pulled the Black Panther with the, let me bring my little tool out and it's going to make these little 3D images that you can look at, right? Hold on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. They're really going to stop that shit in shows and movies. They're really going to stop that.
Well, because they don't want you to just sit there staring at an actor talk.
I don't like that. I didn't like that in some of the bits of like BVS and Man of Steel and Superman with like these weird computerized little like fake toys that do it. I didn't like it in this. Like, they do that in everything. It's really, it's just Just have a flashback.
The Star Wars chess game. Fuck that.
Yeah, but they're not telling the story through that, right? I mean,
but I think you enjoyed it in Black Panther because it was the opening to establish the like Wakanda,
sure,
right? Like,
did they do? I don't even remember this, Brock.
Yeah, at the beginning of they go through the whole thing of like the meteor hitting the ground and the clans, right? And it's stylized, right? It's very stylized for Black Panther, and it's like for me, it's like as long as it tells a story, I get the artistic merit behind it. But the kind of like, you know, just all right, we're going to tell you what happened with these, you know, so-called characters, right? Like Shazam did it with Black Adam.
But I don't mind now when it does it with like, you know, here is the storied history of the Amazons, and we're going to give you some backstory on that. Not here is the plot of the entire thing. Yeah, right. That's where it kind of bothers me.
And so I think that like I didn't mind the actor. I can't remember his name. His portrayal of the one who remains. I think he did fine with what he was given. And especially in this, you know, it's a little mad professor. It's a little, you know, crazy. Yes. For what it is. So like, I understand where Kevin's coming from when in liking the performance. And I understand where Ryan is coming from.
Well, Brock, here's what I would agree with Ryan. If Jonathan Majors played Kang the Conqueror like that, I would hate it.
Yes.
But because he's playing this essentially Marlon Brando at the end of Apocalypse Now, where he's just this guy who's gone nuts out by himself at the end of everything. Yeah. I thought it worked.
I could see that.
I thought it worked.
Yeah. But I think that overall, for me, I enjoyed the show. I know this is for money reasons, but I really would have preferred Loki in like 3 episodes, like the BBC runs Sherlock, where they're more like an hour and a half short movies, where the first episode would have ended with Loki leaving after Sylvie. The, you know, second episode ended where Loki and Mobius they're purged, and then this would have ended with we have all of this stuff happening at the beginning, and then we kind of get this explanation, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King stuff at the end. But I think for the most part, the questions that this one asks, and Train, you had to go by when I couldn't mute, is, you know, where are we going to get all the answers to these questions? Like, Kang the Conqueror has been mentioned at being in Ant-Man and Wasp. You know, what version of Kang are we dealing with at the end of this show that we see the statue of? Is that the Conqueror one, or is that another variant of Kang? Where did Loki end up? You know, what branch or timeline, or where is Loki? Because apparently nobody remembers what happened.
Yeah, alternate time or altered time.
Yeah, but they're not really like aware of who he is.
Well, yeah, he's either in another dimension or time was altered, so it's all
so it's like cool. There's a lot of explanation. There's a lot of explanation stuff. So for me, it's one of those things like it's coming out of like it's kind of the same feeling I felt when I came out of Matrix Reloaded, where I was like, okay, you gave me an interesting thing. There's a lot of questions. Are you going to be able to answer them? Because Matrix 3 didn't answer even a fair amount of the questions that were asked in Matrix 2. So for me, I think I'm torn on this one. I like it definitely better than I like Falcon Winter Soldier, but I think I liked WandaVision a little bit better. But again, I think that this kind of connecting tissue that the TV shows are to whatever's coming up is, I think, becoming more advertisement than story driven.
This is what, thank you, because this is what one of my arguments was when we were talking about Black Widow, how I said in retrospect, I wish this had been a TV show. It's a complete story. That Black Widow movie, not the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
It's a complete story because it's in the past.
Yeah, that's great.
I think now with current things, they're going to feel like they've got to feed into the machine, into the other projects. And so I'm worried that any TV show is going to be
Yep.
a feeder product into a bigger movie.
And that's what my hope of She-Hulk, Moon Knight, other standalone shows are that standalone, and they don't. The idea of tying everything in sounds great until you realize what that entails, and that no product is really its own thing anymore.
Right. And when people go, "Oh, they're making it just like Marvel Comics," no, they're like, not every Marvel comic has every character from the universe passing through it and referencing every other title that's going on that month.
Yeah.
And even when there is a big crossover event, it's not about every single character that you've been introduced to. The characters, show up, but it's not like they're every character has to have X amount of time on the screen because they've had X amount of movies or something.
I see no real evidence, obviously, at this point, that we're going to see like some dramatic drop off of viewership. But I have to assume at some point these things, people they'll miss a movie or not watch a show, and they'll kind of be like, "What happened? What's this?" And that's when you start to lose the more casual audience. Again, we're locked in, but we are not the normal audience. So I don't ever want to see the stuff go away. I generally really like the movies. And you can have your through line with Kang or whoever the bad guy is, but like,
well, I think that's the thing. Your through line is what you want to get to, right? Like, it's the end game, right? We saw the sprinklings of Thanos throughout phase 1, or at the start, phase 1, phase 2, we saw a little bit more sprinkling, it was in there, right? Like, the movie's tied into, we're going to deal with Infinity Stones and stuff like that, or whatever they end up becoming.
And I love I get annoyed at fan theories and shit like that, but but of course I like it. I like, what if they do this? What if they do this? But not at the expense of losing any sort of standalone story or complete product.
And I think the thing is these TV shows didn't necessarily tell a complete, solid, standalone thing for those characters. They told us something that was, they just told us, hey, we're keeping you entertained until we can pump out the next thing. Right. And, for me, like, watching WandaVision, I was like, I really wanted to go back and kind of revisit the movies where we saw their relationship develop, because I felt like I would have had a better, like, I think they needed a little bit more.
What?
To that.
If WandaVision ended with "to be continued in WandaVision season 2," awesome. Yeah. To be continued in other places, then what's the point of the show?
How much are we really going to get watching Doctor Strange to finish up WandaVision?
None. Almost nothing of it.
Right. Or is Doctor Strange just going to be a lead into WandaVision season 2?
I can't imagine that. Maybe, but I can't imagine that.
Like, yeah. So I don't know. I enjoyed most of Loki, but I do think that, like, these TV shows, I mean, we talk about this with WandaVision. We talked about this with Winter Soldier. In Loki, it's the timing and the pacing of these shows is just all over the place, and they don't seem to hit the mark with, like, we wanted a little bit more WandaVision. Falcon, Winter Soldier needed to be condensed, or like condensed down and stuff removed, or expanded out a little bit, more to, for a better explanation. Loki, I think, tried to hit the middle, but like, that's a lot to shove into 6 episodes that, could have been done in 3.
Well, I think Loki was perfectly fine. I think the ending is just a different ending, and it wraps up the story. And there you go. They defeat the evil that's the bad guy behind the TVA, and then we deal with the ramifications of that in season 2. That's kind of what happened, but it's not going to be in Loki season 2, or most of it won't be, or part of it won't be, and it's going to be in another place. So, yeah, I don't know. I am, there's always something that I feel like is just
You're not shipping Loki and Sylvie though.
just a bit off. No. I mean, that's fine, but that's a little weird. But it's fine if that's your thing. More power to you.
Is it like?
So no, I did say it bothered me that in Winter Soldier and Falcon that basically you don't have to see the show, but I do think the show do serve points though. Like WandaVision was with Wanda's grief and all the stuff that happened, right? So,
yeah.
Winter Soldier Falcon was with Falcon getting to grips with it, with him becoming Captain America. Black Captain America is today's America, right? I thought that was interesting stuff. I do feel like these stories should exist and they should be told. I feel like with Loki, the story was that to expand on the expanded timeline, the variant stuff. Like they kind of teased on some of that stuff with in Endgame when Hulk was talking to the Endless, the Nameless one, the old lady Tilda.
Yeah.
So there was teases of that, and they kind of delved more into that stuff, right? Because it's obviously our famous Endgame talk that we talked a bunch about it, so therefore there's definitely stories there, right? So I do think there's places for these. So and the fact that you kind of I enjoy when you watch something and it gets someone else to kind of watch the other stuff. Like, it's a bad example, but a lot of people, again, in the Fast and Furious now, they're watching all the old ones. Like, but it's a fine line, right? At what point do we cross the line? Like, a lot of times, like, say with my mom, I have to re-show her, like I had like a Ant-Man watch, because I would do like Ant-Man, Civil War, and then Ant-Man 2, so it's similar with Black Widow. I didn't show her the entire movies, but I kind of had to show the trailer and explain to her, like, look, this is what happened here and here, and remember, this is what happened here and here. So I feel like Disney loves this.
Well, even at the end of the episode, because I had been spoiled, I woke up like literally trending topic, every single comment, every single message to me was about the finale, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care if I'm spoiled. So we're watching the episode, and the second they walk into the castle and you see Kang, the end's like kind of gives me like like a who's that, and I'm just like, I just don't even want to explain it. It's just too.
Why was this statue destroyed?
I do feel.
Why was that statue destroyed?
I do feel like, Ryan, with you sometimes, this is not a knock on you though, but sometimes I feel like you have an end in mind. And when that end doesn't happen, you're like, dislike it. Like, you were so set on Loki being the guy in there that the fact that it's Kang, you're like...
and like Kevin said earlier, I'll disagree with that. It's not that I have an ending in mind. And again, like I said, if I call it, cool. If I don't, who fucking cares? Like, I'm not here to score weird nerd points on the internet.
You do not like it when it's not your way, though.
Well, that's you. But the problem I have is when it's I don't care if it's different, or it just has to make sense, and it has to be a complete story. Like, part of the problem with like the Agatha Harkness stuff, at the beginning I was like, well, who cares if she's Agatha Harkness? It doesn't matter. That she's not a character in the show. But okay, so she is. That's fine. But does this character's arc fully complete within the show? And it didn't. And then in this one, you're like, okay, well, there is logical choices you can make of who's behind it that will make this show thematically wrap up with Loki. And when you get to the mystery box stuff, it could be whatever. It could be anything. And so it's not that I don't like it because I'm not able to call it. It doesn't really thematically fit with what was presented in the rest of the show. Because if you're reading a mystery or watching a good mystery movie, you should be able to have at least a guess or figure it out. This was impossible to figure out within the context of the show, because people knew it because of third-party information, because of the comics, but that should not relate to what happens in the movie or in a show. If it only happens because it happened in another source, you're doing something wrong. Couple examples, and I have never read the Harry Potter books. I know absolutely nothing other than the movies. I've only ever watched the movies, and I've only ever watched them one time. The final movie is meaningless to anyone that didn't read the books, because everything comes out of nowhere and you have no idea why anyone is doing anything they're doing. This was like this in Star Trek Into Darkness. Him being Kang, what's his face? Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Being Khan was meaningless because Khan was not a character that these people have run into before. So when he says, "I'm Khan," it's completely meaningless. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter who he is, because you're being introduced for the first time. And I'll disagree with
he's trying to do a Star-Lord. I am Khan.
And I'll disagree with like something like Wizard of Oz, because you're told through the entire movie they're off to see the wizard. They know they're going to see the Wizard of Oz. Now, what the Wizard of Oz? The song just keeps on.
But they're doing this too, right? I mean,
but no. But again, if they were told, but that's what I'm saying. If they were told at the very beginning, there is a man named Kang that runs the TVA. He is this evil nightmare person that is ruling the multiverse with an iron fist, and they finally get there and he's this whack job and he's really not a bad guy. That's an okay twist. But being there's a thing, and then it's this guy you've never heard of, that does not exist within the context of the TV show before he's introduced, that just sits there and monologues for a half an hour and explains the plot of everything to you. That is not good storytelling. That's my problem. So it's in the context of this show, the TVA is supposed to be doing a job, and they're supposed to be doing a job to maintain order. And so it's they're not necessarily bad, right? Because they're doing a job to keep everything nice and orderly. Well,
and
that's what I said about Sylvia and the Idiot Ball, or Sylvie and having the characters, the expression, a character will hold the idiot ball and do stuff way out of context or way out of character just to move the plot around. Like, there's no reason for her to kill him other than like this sort of weird, like, well, I came to do the thing, and even though the situation is completely changed, I'm still going to do the thing. That didn't make any sense, right? But like,
well, it's one of those things where it's like you blame this, and then this is not what it was, right? You blame the lizard people, the timekeepers, right? And those timekeepers are fake. So now you have to blame the thing that's behind the timekeepers.
All right.
Right? And you're doing this thing, you're traveling, you're doing this journey, and you get to the end, and the end is just a guy chewing an apple telling a crazy story because he's knows what's going to happen. They tried to replay the joke of, did you say this, right? By him doing the paper again, right? Of just like seeing the dialogue as if it was a script. And you go through all that, and then it's like, yeah, her character's like, I'm going to kill you anyway. It's like, but why?
Right,
like,
but why?
what purpose does that serve? Like, he's not doing it. He didn't do anything to you maliciously. Like, none of this was done with malicious intent. This was done to maintain the status quo, to keep things flowing, right? Because order, if we had like, it's that constant like order versus chaos dilemma, right? In this, it's overwhelmingly just right? It's so ridiculous. And yet when we watch like Loki throughout this, right, that first episode where he just realizes he's not top dog, he is not, there's something above him. It's that he gets brought down a few pegs. Right. I really enjoyed that episode, but throughout this whole thing, we're watching him really just kind of, he ends up just following, Sylvie to see where this story ends. Right. And at the end, it's,
you kind of lose his story.
Yeah. And when they fight at the end, it's an anticlimactic fight because he doesn't want to fight her. She's fighting for no reason besides that she's really pissed that they ruined her life. It's like, I get that. I understand that. But at this point, it's like, wouldn't you prefer to say, well, it's my life. I'm going to keep living. I'm allowed to keep living now. Or like I fought for my right to keep living. So let's move forward. Right. So I don't know. There's a lot, I think, going on in the show that touches on really deep and philosophical concepts, which, not everything can be explained like making a salad and ruining somebody's salad. So
that's all I got. That's all I got.
Ruined salad. That's where we're ending it.
That's where we're going to end. Toby, any last thoughts?
No, I stopped listening a while ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
At that point, like the Loki episode, they're just talking. I was like, yeah.
Well, of course, now the concern is that we go straight into what if, and boy, do I already not like that in any way, shape, or form because of the animation style. So, boy, that's going to be a tough one.
I saw snippets of the trailer and I was like, oh, I know why he doesn't like this now.
The animation's horrid. So we will find out. I'm sure I'm wrong about that too. Just like everything
Does that start
else.
This week or next week?
Nah, it's not till like August or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of time. All right.
Oh, did we have questions about Loki?
Just people telling me they wanted to. They're excited for my answer to see me eat crow. Yeah. So that's fine.
Oh, that's why you're not reading them.
No, it's not really questions to ask. So, that is it. Thank you all very much for listening. I'm assuming most of you have unsubscribed to our podcast by this point.
Oh, they toned out a while ago.
Yeah.
It's just people talking.
They just
we did it perfect. Our Loki commentary was perfect.
Like it's Ryan talking, so we have to shut the podcast off again. Thank you to our Patreon backers, Joe Duff, Craig Anderson at clearpathcoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Braid. Thank you all very much for your continued support. You can head over to comicconspiracypodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify for all our previous episodes. Go to patreon.com/comics conspiracy. Sorry, Comic Conspiracy, no S. Kick us a couple bucks. You can head to Comics Conspiracy, that's the store, and buy some comics on our website for pick up or mail order. Head over to Conspirator Brock.
Man, if you want to know about packing, it's really good. Follow my Twitter account.
Yeah, a lot of compliments today. If you want to head over to conspiratorbrock.com, that's Brock's blog, pull list videos and unboxing videos. Check out the stuff over there. Charlie has Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension. That's a Doctor Who podcast. It's out every now and again. You can listen to that. Kevin Sharp has a weekly interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. And don't forget to go to leannehill.com, that's my wife. And she does some artwork, and you can buy it all over at etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt.
And her latest one is a Loki.
It is Loki. It's very good, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you are on Twitter, you can harass me by going to Ryan Higgins Ryan and
Ryan Higgins Ryan,
and sending me messages. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. And the store is Comics Con Store. Please check out Geekbox and Manga Machinations for all our other episodes we do. No episode of Geekbox this week, but that's okay because we'll be back next week for more.
Because you couldn't have talked about Loki twice.
I could not have talked about Loki twice. Didn't even want to talk about it once. Thank you all very much. We will be back next week for more podcast goodness. See you then.
Yeah, we get sales charts that
Ooh,
work.
sales charts,
hopefully.
baby.